That is so gross.
She's licking the bottom of the bottle.
Hi.
Hello. How you guys doing today? Sorry we couldn't tag you.
I don't know why. I updated my Facebook and I couldn't tag anybody. So if you happen to make it in, awesome. If you don't, no worries. Jimmy's gonna try to do something.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, there he is.
I can see we're live.
Yeah, and
I can share.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
Friends.
that's just who you're sharing with. It's fine. Just leave it that way. That's you.
Somebody's here.
You, babe. You were there. Okay.
Oh, this is funny.
Okay. See? Look, we're together. Okay. Look it. Somebody else is watching because unless you did that. Did you do that?
Do what?
All those loves and likes. You're so ridiculous. Anyway.
I think somebody else is.
What did you do today, babe? What'd you do?
I worked.
Yeah.
Worked. Had some calls. Had some conference calls.
Yeah.
Replied to some emails.
Yeah.
Had some more calls. Did some training.
Oh, look, you're watching. Aw.
So I can
That's
wave
so
at myself.
awesome. That's so awesome. We're so centered on ourselves that we watch ourselves while we're watching
It's
ourselves.
literally not open. The app's not open.
It doesn't matter. You left it on, so now it's on. What else did we do today, babe? What else did we do?
Oh, we hung out together.
We did hang out together. Now you're not watching. What are you doing? You're just watching us, watching you, watching us?
Yeah, it's kind of... Well, I'm seeing what I look like. I don't watch myself.
Okay.
So...
We could do this all night, I suppose.
Can't I just look? I've never looked. Now I close Facebook. If I close everything on my phone. Everything's closed. I'm gone now.
I did a live stream today. I rearranged my kitchen.
Well, I did a Scentsy
video because you got your Scentsy product.
Scentsy unboxing.
I took a package to the post office because I made a sale off my Poshmark store.
I went with you.
We delivered our Scentsy orders.
Yes.
And we went on a bike ride.
What?
Yeah, remember?
What?
4 miles. We went on a 4-mile bike ride with the dogs. I posted a picture in the group.
It was hot.
It was hot. I wasn't that hot. I'm not pulling the trailer with the dogs.
I mean, that doesn't make... But it was a little bit... I'm carrying some extra weight, so... You know, I've got on my winter coat.
Oh.
And then Little Bear, of course, she was melting.
Yeah. So?
She was melting when we walked outside. 4 miles.
Yeah.
4 miles is only 120 calories.
206 calories.
206 calories.
It wasn't even the fry we ate at Burger King.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Oh well. It's okay.
Huh, we got out.
So, then they took a nap, and they took a nap for like half the afternoon. That was fun.
It was not half the afternoon. And it wasn't my fault. It was like 5 o'clock. And I slept till 6:30.
Anyway, we're with Saul tonight. Saul's a great big failure. It's his final chapter. Even though it's not really his final chapter, he doesn't die in this chapter. It's his final acts of what's going on in his life. He's just shameful. He's shameful. That was our title, Shameful.
Shameful.
So, we're in 1 Samuel 28. And as we go there, we started out the chapter. It's not about Saul in the beginning of the chapter. It's actually about David. David is with the king of the Philistines, and the Philistines are attacking Israel. And David's like going with the king of Israel or king of the Philistines, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, the king wants him to go with him because hey, we're buds." And David's like, "What did he say?"
David said, "Then you will see for yourself what your servant can do."
David had other things in mind, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure he did.
But I don't think the king had any idea whatsoever, because he's like, "I will make you my bodyguard for life. We are friends till the end. Yeah, you're my homie." What a nut. Anyway, so then the chapter goes on to Saul. And there's some key words that stuck out to us tonight with Saul. Saul's key words were in verse 3. It says, "Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had mourned for him and buried him in his own town of Ramah. And Saul had expelled the mediums and spiritists from the land." Expelled. Got rid of. Everybody that's a medium or a spiritist, you're out of here. That seems like a good thing, don't you think?
I think it is a good thing.
Yeah. Until you need one. Then you're kind of screwed because there ain't none in the land, right?
Until you need one.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever need one.
Well, you don't, because you have the Holy Spirit and God speaks to your heart. But they didn't have the Holy Spirit. So Saul had to inquire of the Lord. And in verse 6, he does. He inquires of the Lord. But the Lord did not answer him by dreams or Urim or prophets. So Saul says, "Find me a woman who's a medium, so I may go and inquire of her." "There is one in Endor," they said.
It's funny they knew.
It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
So first key word was expelled. That's good. Second key word is find me a one. That's bad.
Another bad one is that there is one.
So you can't really just go walking into the medium that you've expelled from the land as king of Israel and say, "Hey, I know I kicked you out, but I need you to hook me up," because probably it's not going to work that well. So he has to disguise himself.
Kind of like somebody else covered themselves.
Who?
Adam and Eve.
Correct. And David is disguising himself as a friend to the Philistines when he's really not. So everybody's just playing a role at this point. But Saul is playing the worst role of all. So Saul goes to her, and he tells her, I need you to hook me up. I need a favor. I need to talk to somebody. And she says in verse 10.
But look what he does with he does with his sin.
What does he do?
He disguised himself, putting on other clothes, and at night, he and the two men went out to consult the Spirit for me, he said, and bring up me the one I named. So he does it very, very, very covert.
Yes.
Disguise, in the dark.
So you tell me this, and I'm like, no, because you're trying to trap me, and I'm going to get in trouble, and I don't want to do this. So what does he say in verse 10?
Saul swore to her by the Lord, capital L.
The one that's not talking to him at this point.
As surely as the Lord lives, you will not be punished for this.
He expels the spiritists from the land. Thumbs up. Good job. Then he goes and tries to find one. Thumbs down. Bad job. Now he's telling her, you're surely not going to get punished. It's 2 thumbs down. He's just screwing up all over the place, babe. Screwing up all over the place. So she does what he says.
Well.
What?
She didn't want to.
She didn't want to, but
she did.
Because money talks. So.
Yeah.
There he comes, out of the ground, who comes?
Well, then the women asked, "Whom shall I bring up for you?" Who? And he says, "Bring up Samuel." He said, "Bring up Samuel." And I thought, well, I guess that wouldn't be odd.
Because that's his homie.
Well, there's more than one person, I'm sure, that is named Samuel.
Oh, you're saying because when he says that,
He
she
says,
doesn't
like,
know who that is until it comes out of the
He's
ground.
still being scandalous. He didn't
Right.
bring up
the prophet.
The prophet.
Right.
He didn't say that. He just said...
So then he comes up out of the ground and she's like, "You're Saul!" What?
She cried out at the top of her voice and said to Saul, "Why have you deceived me? You're Saul."
Don't be afraid. What do you see?
Don't be afraid. What do you see?
So Samuel comes up out of the ground and he says, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?"
Well, he's asking, what do you see? What does it look like? Who's he? Who do you see? I guess he was trying to make sure he got the right Samuel.
Yeah, he didn't want a wrong number.
Then the woman saw a ghostly figure coming up out of the earth. "What does he look like?" he asked. "An old man wearing a robe is coming up," she said. Then Saul knew it was Samuel. He knew it. And bowed down, prostrated himself with his face on the ground.
So what's Saul's issue? "I'm in great distress," Saul says. "The Philistines are fighting against me and God has departed from me. He no longer answers me. So you gotta tell me what to do, because I don't know, because nobody's talking to me."
And Samuel said, "Why do you consult me? Now that the Lord has departed from you and become your enemy. The Lord has done what he predicted through me. The Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hands and given it to one of your neighbors. To
David. You did not obey the Lord. You did not carry out fierce wrath against the Amalekites. The Lord has done this to you today."
Not tomorrow.
Today.
Not next week.
Today. You're going to be delivered to the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow you and your sons will be with me.
No if, ands, but.
No, tomorrow.
But,
Today, this has happened. Tomorrow, you're with me. And the army's going to the Philistines. Good job on that. So, where do you go from there?
Well, obviously you go and fall to the full length on the ground.
And then you eat,
and you get filled with fear because of the words. And then your strength drains from you.
Because you haven't ate all day. So, they convince him to eat. He eats. They go. It is what it is. What can you do? When you're told you're going to die, you're going to die. It's not much you can do about it. So, our key verse was, "Because you did not obey the Lord or carry out his fierce anger against the Amalekites, the Lord has done this to you today." That's our key verse. Today, this is what is going to happen to you because you did not do this. The Lord will deliver both Israel and you into the hands of the Philistines, and tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. The Lord will also give the army of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. That was 18 and 19 of 1 Samuel 28. And that's significant because Today is the day. You're not promised tomorrow. Today is the day of salvation. Today is the day that you've been given to make a choice. Today, it's always today. For him to say tomorrow, you and your sons are going to be with me, means you are promised tomorrow, because tomorrow is when you're going to be with me, because that's what's going to happen to you tomorrow.
I think that's the only time it's...
I really do. I really think
you're
that.
You're given tomorrow.
You were given tomorrow, because tomorrow you're going to be with me, because you got an appointment. So, what does that mean? That he and his sons are going to be with Samuel tomorrow.
Well, that means they're going to be dead.
Yes. Where's dead when you're in the Old Testament?
I'll let you explain it.
Well, there's Abraham's bosom, right?
Yes.
And then, because we get that from the rich man and Lazarus, right?
Yes.
And because Jesus hasn't came and died and rose, so we can't get to heaven yet.
Yeah. That's not until Jesus dies and then the prophets are walking around.
Right. So he says, tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Yes, he's dead. Is he
in a waiting room?
Is he saved and eternally with God? Or is he separated by the great chasm that the rich man was when Lazarus went to Abraham's bosom and he didn't? Was he condemned to go to damnation and Jonathan with him, because he says they will be there? Where are they? Where are they? What's the answer? Do you know what the answer is?
It's not a question of my salvation. I'm not God, so I don't know.
We don't know. It doesn't say. It doesn't say tomorrow you will be in damnation. It doesn't say that.
No.
And Jonathan was a righteous man. Jonathan was right with God and right with David and right all, and even died fighting alongside his father, who was the king. He was a good man. So for him to be lumped into damnation with his father would not seem right by God. So truly it goes back to only God knows your heart, right? You're definitely stuck with the consequences of your sin.
You are.
So, our Bible background was that the Philistines' battle was looming and Saul's failure confirmed by medium summoned Samuel. And we see that you said you wanted them to learn that God is holy and just. You need to hear his call and step into it and receive the blessing. So,
yeah.
What say you to the
God
offer
is holy
of
and
God's
just. So God is holy and God is just. So he said what he meant and he meant what he said. So
just because he's not talking to you doesn't mean that he's changed his mind and he's not going to do what he said he was going to do a long time ago.
Yes. It gives you, it's all about the choices that you make. So
yes.
If you feel the calling of God on your heart, if you're saved, if you're not saved, you know,
you're held accountable for what you do with that call.
Yes. You know, if you're going to church and you're like, well, I'm really called into children's ministry, but I don't want to do that. Or like I was, where, you know, we were called upon to be name counselors at the church we were going to. And I was like, yeah, you know, you might be hearing that call, but I'm really not hearing that. I really don't want to do this. Our relationship's good. Step into ministry. You know, the road gets rocky. I'm comfortable. I'm a comfortable Christian right now.
Yep.
I'm comfortable.
It's not good to be a comfortable Christian. You don't grow.
You know, I go to church, I read my Bible. I was growing. But I was, I don't know, a greedy Christian. I was taking it all in, I wasn't giving it out.
That's what it is.
So. And then, or even if somebody's trying to bless you, and you're like, no, I'm okay. No. Take the blessing. Why would you deny somebody else giving that blessing to you? It's a blessing.
So don't be stuck being wishy-washy like Saul was, expelling people and then calling on them and then not listening to God's call and then calling people that have already told you what God's call was, but you just are too pig-headed to listen. You know, the failure of Saul was that he just chose to continue to be a failure. Like, and we were talking about that before we got on too, is that all the things that happened to him and all the poor choices he made did not shock God. God knew what he was going to do, and though it didn't seem like good circumstances for Saul, it definitely accomplished what it needed to through Saul and through David. David wouldn't have been who he was had he not had to go through all that he did being chased by Saul.
So. How does this relate?
This is that. That's what
Yeah.
you just said.
Yeah. The way I get it laid out is, the synopsis of that is, here's a map. So as you can see, we're up here.
You can't see.
Oh, sorry, we're up here. And what we're going to go is down here. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Hesperia Lakes. But it's a place I used to love to take my granddaughter. So I can tell you all about Hesperia Lakes. And I can give you the map. It's the map to Hesperia Lakes. I can tell you what you need to do when you get to Hesperia Lakes. I can tell you the hot spots at Hesperia Lake. You can get your fish on. You can have a good time. You can take the grandkids over to the little lake. You can have them catch a fish for sure. It's a great place. I can tell you where to sit. I can tell you all about Hesperia Lakes. You know why? I've been there. Nothing new under the sun. God sees everything.
Yes.
God gave him
The map.
the map. Well, the map's gone now.
The map's gone. But we understand.
But he took that map and he did that. He put
Closed
the map.
it and it was put
He
away.
put it away. Put it in the glove box. Said, let's hit the road. We're going to this place called Hesperia Lakes. How you gonna get there?
I'll figure it out.
Don't hang a left before you get to the lake, because if you hang a left, you're gonna shoot up in the Apple Valley.
Okay.
You're not gonna end up at the lake.
All right.
You know?
Okie day.
So he decided to take the road map that was laid out before him, that he was anointed. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to go about it. These are the rules you need to follow. You've got the book. You have the manual. He put the manual away. And because he decided not to follow what God had put in place for him to do,
It went to another person, David.
tomorrow you're going to die.
And that was the end of him, because that's what he chose to do, because...
You took the wrong road, and that's the end of the road.
Yeah. And it's not God's fault that we choose to make poor choices and suffer the consequences for our actions. And you might say, well, we're not there, but yeah. Tomorrow we're on Monday we're on 1 Samuel 30 and 31, endings and beginnings. And we're going to see that there's some endings and there's some beginnings. And with that comes choices, and it comes consequences and choices, and it is what it is. And it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's a sad story. It seems like, it could have went differently, but honestly, maybe that was just a story. That's who he was. That's what his purpose was. That's how it was supposed to end up. And that's how it ended up. So, God's got this.
God's got this.
Don't be sad. At least he knew when his tomorrow was.
I don't know. I kind of like not knowing when my tomorrow is.
I think I would have told my sons, hey,
You gotta go.
maybe you shouldn't go to the battle with me. Or maybe he figured out,
It doesn't matter.
I never did what I was supposed to do, and this is what God's saying I'm going to do, and maybe I should go out and do what I'm supposed to do. Maybe he finally figured out this was God's call on his life. This is where I'm supposed to end up. Because he could have not went to the battle. He was the king. He didn't have to do anything. He chose to do a whole bunch of stupid stuff the whole time. He didn't have to do it. But the fact that he went to the battle and went to the place where God told him he was going to be in his tomorrow. I mean, we're not talking Final Destination here. You know, it's a simple man. Like, there wasn't choices like that, right? So, for him to go and do what God said he was going to do, which would lead to his death, had to have been a resolve of, who am I? God said this is how it's going to be, so this is how it's going to be. I don't know who that's for, because that wasn't written down or anything. So.
Kind of like the Lord of the Rings.
And Star Wars, evidently. They're in Endor! The Witch of Endor! Hello?
It's not like Endor. It's like...
The little Ewoks. Doesn't she look like an Ewok? Look at her face.
Why did you mess with her?
Oh, she's fine. She's a dog. She's for us.
She is not happy.
Look at. She looks like an Ewok.
It's like the Lord of the Rings when they went to Helm's Deep. And they were fighting the orc army and they got pulled all the way back into the keep. And Aragorn tells the king, we need to ride out. And they ride out. But of course, Gandalf doesn't come on to save the day. But nevertheless, they mount their horses and they still go out into battle, knowing that at that point, the outcome of them going outside was surely going to be their deaths.
Yes.
So.
On we ride. This is our calling. This is where we're supposed to be.
I mean. Yeah. What a situation. I never thought about it like that.
Me either. That's why I'm like, I don't know who that's for, because that wasn't what I wrote and that wasn't where we were at. But that's definitely true.
You know, you and your sons. I got sons.
I can't fathom.
You know.
I can't even fathom.
God's saying, you know what, you and your boys are going to go out and...
You ain't coming back.
You're not coming back.
You're going to be with Samuel.
Maybe that was him coming about. Because not only was he going out there.
We're not there. It's Monday.
Well, no. Well, we already said he's going.
We'll touch more on it on Monday. It's a lot to ponder. Look at Jimmy. He's like all steaming and thinking. It's like all kinds of thoughts going on. But it's true. I'm excited. Maybe this was all just for us. I don't know. Because we hadn't thought of that until I started just saying it right now. So God's awesome.
Yeah, and we went through this.
We did. We already studied it and put it out.
And already. But then
that's how God is. Isn't that amazing? Because God's word is alive and powerful, and it can change, and it is moving, and it grows you, and though you have it here, and you think you're here, and you think this is it, he can just move it around and turn it into something else just like that. I love it. I love it. It's so exciting.
Yeah. Maybe we should change it. To tomorrow, you and your sons will be dead.
So instead of it being the final chapter, it's Saul's final destination.
It's not just Saul. It's Saul and his sons. It's Jonathan. It's Jonathan.
Yeah.
It's like you're watching that movie and you're like, oh wow, I really like this guy. He's really a good person. He's, turning out to be the hero. And then, then he dies.
Yep.
Like the book of Eli.
Yes. But, again, that's a very good point. That's a very good example because that was his whole point. That was his whole purpose. If he would not have lived his life and done all of that to get to that point, to live out that purpose, then he wouldn't have achieved his purpose. Everything that he did in his life was to get him to that point.
So if you haven't seen the book of Eli,
that's a very good movie.
It's a good movie. A little violent, maybe not for the kids, but and very. You just didn't know until at the end, and then it was just like
mine for you.
And then that was his purpose, like you said. It was his purpose. So, know your purpose?
You may not know your purpose until you're in it, and then you just need to either accept it or reject it, but either way, your purpose is going to be fulfilled. You won't always know your purpose.
Might want to accept it. Let's tomorrow happen.
Your tomorrow's going to happen, whether you accept it or not.
Just what kind of tomorrow?
But what is your heart going to be while you're in it?
What kind of tomorrow will it be?
Yeah. Man, this is so deep and heavy. We need ice cream.
It's too heavy.
Ice cream time!
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you so much. And we shall see you on Monday. We're taking the Saturday off.
Yeah. We might pop in on Saturday. I don't know. She's having issues with her Facebook. So maybe we'll do something short tomorrow just to make sure her Facebook's working. We couldn't tag anybody. We couldn't tag anybody. So Mario, we're sorry. Mark, Ashley, Raquel, Tom. Wish you were here. But hopefully you'll watch through.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Now Jimmy's going to try to push the little button.
I gotta move it. I don't want to move the bear. Don't poke the bear. Don't poke her.